Hello everyone, welcome to the What If Anime YouTube channel. Today, we're diving into an exciting new story that will take your imagination to the next level. Let's get started. What if Naruto was the adopted father of Artemis and Hestia Part 1? The gods and demigods read The Lightning Thief with a guest by Spirit Soldier. Disclaimer: I do not own Percy Jackson or The Guess. Prologue: a man with blonde hair with red and black tips, red slit eyes, and a black jacket is walking in a fire world, full of demons and other monsters. He been wondering, bored out of his mind of what to do. He lived for 15,000 years and was bored out of his mind, since he defeated most of the demons and he forget to mention who he was. He is the lord of the demons, hero of demigods, and adopted father of Artemis and Hestia. Yes, I said Artemis and Hestia. 13 years ago he found those two in the forest. Artemis was cutting up a tree, while Hestia was trying to calm her down. He walk over to them and they talk for a bit. Artemis and Hestia explain that Zeus, Hestia's brother and Artemis's father, didn't want them at Olympus when he was training Apollo, Ares, and Dionysus. Artemis was really mad that she couldn't train, so the man offered if he could train the both of them. Artemis and Hestia both look up to him with wide innocent eyes. Artemis is still in kid form and yelled, "Yes." They both hug him and said thank you a million times. For years, the man trained them in fighting, weapons, and their natural skills. For Artemis he trained her in knives, archery, swordsmanship, and nature itself, while he showed Hestia different kind of fire styles to use. After the training was over, Artemis and Hestia asked the man if they could be their adopted father with wide hopeful eyes. After seeing those eyes, he couldn't possibly say no. When Artemis became part of the Olympians, Naruto helped her make the right decision and help her form her hunters. He hate the men in the earth since most of them in his time were pigs as well, so he helped Artemis save any female from abuse, slavery, and heartbreak. The hunters admire Naruto as the perfect male, the only one that they let get close to them. For Hestia, he always visit her, playing with her in the gardens, reading a story to her, and taught her how to cook many kinds of food. She also calls him when she have nightmares about her original dad, and the man help her out. Artemis and Hestia love their adopted father and vice versa. Right now, the man was thinking of visiting them until a bright light surrounded him. Another dimension. When the light was gone, the man pull out his sword and look around to see where the threat is. When he saw three figures, he immediately calmed down and had a look that said, "Explain." "Hello, Demon Lord. We are here to give you a quest," one figure said. "Test? What kind of test?" the Demon Lord asked, with a raised eyebrow. He was not afraid of them, since he overcome fate a whole bunch of times, immortal or mortal. "We need you get every demigod on this list and bring them to Mount Olympus. Also, bring this book with you," the second figure said. The man looked at the book and the title read, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. The Lord pull up all information on the kid's name and his eyes widen in surprise. The kid was strong, he could say that. He defeated almost every monster, 2 gods, 4 titans, and is in 2 prophecies. The kid also got extremely bad luck, like his old self does. He attracts danger as much as he does and also is abuse like him, though he still got his mother. This kid will be interesting to read about and also is interested in meeting his friends. He grinned at the figures and nodded his head, indicating that he'll do it. "Good, then we wish you well, Lord of the Demons," the third figure said, and Naruto disappeared, but not before thinking that it was the most interesting conversation with the fates he ever had. Camp Half-Blood. Annabeth is bawling her eyes out in her cabin for her missing boyfriend Percy. It been 7 months since he was gone and the Argo 2 isn't finished yet. Finally, after 7 months, she couldn't take it anymore and cried her eyes out that she's been for the past months. Talia, Clarice, Katie, Piper, Rachel, and Juniper were comforting her, while the guys were standing watching the scene. While they were in here, Piper, Leo, and Jason were thinking about Percy. Piper was thinking how one demigod was that powerful. She heard stories about Percy and she couldn't believe some of them. Like how he defeated the Minotaur with his bare hand, wounded Ares in battle, defeated Hades and his monster army, and even defeated Kronos. She want to see for herself if the rumors are true and what was Percy like. Leo admired the son of Poseidon. He heard all the stories about him from his bunk mates and automatically like him. He also heard he's funny, strong, kind, humble, and loyal. He made a shrine for him in the Hephaestus cabin and couldn't wait to meet him. Jason getting tired of hearing the name. It was Percy Jackson this and Percy Jackson that. They all think he's the hero, but they're wrong. He's the hero, not some pathetic son of Poseidon. Even Leo and Piper starting to become absorbed in those lies. He will prove that he was the real hero and not some pathetic son of Poseidon. Hey Annie, it'll be alright. We'll get him back from the Romans, Talia said, trying to hold back her own tears. Percy is like a brother to her and she want him back as much as Annabeth does. But what if, sniff, he doesn't remember us? What if he get a new girlfriend? What if he's dead? Annabeth was getting more hysterical with each question and made a new wave of tears. Piper felt her heartbreak for the girl. She obviously loves Percy. He must a really good guy to get a reaction from Annabeth. Don't worry princess, Clarice said, surprising everyone. The Percy is stronger than he looks, so it'll be impossible to kill him. Also, if he forget about us, me and Talia will beat his memories back in, Clarice said. She won't admit this to anyone, but she missed Percy as well. Despite being rivals, he was one of her true friends, but again she will not admit it to anyone. She still got her pride. Suddenly a bright light surrounded them and they all disappear. Mount Olympus, the gods were yelling at each other faces, again. Demeter and Hades were arguing about Persephone. Athena was yelling at Poseidon, who was ignoring her and was talking to Hestia. Dionysus was reading his wine magazine. Hephaestus was arguing with Ares about Aphrodite, who was doing her makeup. Zeus and Hera was arguing about Talia, and Artemis was shooting arrows at Apollo and Hermes, who are screaming like little girls. Suddenly a bright light was shined and 16 demigods and one mortal was here. Who are you? Zeus yelled. Thunder and lightning was flashing. Poseidon, Hera, and Hades rolled their eyes at their brother-wife dramatics. Talia stepped forward. What do you mean, Dad? Didn't you call us? All the gods gasped, seeing Talia. Talia, you were a tree, Zeus exclaimed. Before Talia could answer, another bright light was formed and standing and it was 5 people. After it died down, everyone saw who they was. I'm telling you that we need to prepare for a strike against the Greek. Octavian exclaimed. Percy, Frank, Hazel, and Raina were starting to get annoyed at this. No, we do not. They're not going to attack us head-on. We're not the hot-headed animals you believe we are, Octavian, Percy said, fiercely. You're right, the pale blonde said with a sneer. They are murderers, liars, thieves and so much more. Shut up, Percy yelled, startling Octavian. My friends are not murderers nor are they liars. And as for thieves, that's only Hermes' cabin. Guilty, Travis, Connor, and Chris. Percy looked to the direction of the sound and stared at them, not believing his friends are here and vice versa. Suddenly, Talia and Annabeth run over to him and hugged him, crying on his shoulders. Percy was still a little shocked, but got over it to comfort the 2 girls. Shush, it's okay, I'm here now and I got memory back, Percy whispered. He kept whispering to them, while everyone was staring at them. The Greeks had tears in their eyes seeing their best friend again. Leo got stars in his eyes, seeing his idol. The goddesses, minus Athena, had blushes on their face, seeing the black-hair kid. Piper also got a blush on her face and a slight nosebleed. Zeus and Athena were scowling at Percy, for hugging their daughters like that. Jason was scowling since he was hugging and comforting his sister. The Romans, minus Octavian, smile at the scene, while Octavian himself just gag. Poseidon just looked shocked to see his son again and the rest was just bored. The rest of the Greeks came up to Percy and hugged Percy, squeezing the boy death. They all let out their tears and cheering seeing their friend again. Suddenly, a darkness was swirling in the middle of the building. The Greeks, Roman, and gods prepare for battle, not knowing what it was. Only Artemis and Hestia recognized it and their eyes was shining. The shadow disappeared and a man appeared. The man was wearing a red vest, with a black leather jacket over it. He got black jeans and red boots. He also got golden blonde hair, with black and red tips on the top and red slit eyes. Everyone felt his power and was shaking in fear, even Zeus was trembling. The women all had deep blushes on their faces, except Annabeth, Artemis, and Hestia. The only one that was not was Percy, though he still got chills up his spine. The man saw this and smirked. Hello fellow gods and demigods. I brought you here today, to read this book, Naruto held his hand up, with his book for everyone to see. When they saw the title, Percy paled and moaned, "Why me?" The man chuckled, "Sorry kid, but the fates want me to do this. Look at it this way, at least you won't have to tell the story, without anyone saying you're a liar." Percy smiled at the man, who made a black throne near Hestia's hearth. Then asked the silent question for everyone, "Who are you?" Naruto's eyes began to glow red and the shadows and ghosts surrounded him. "I am called by names. The 10-tailed Jinchuriki, the Black Flash, hero of demigods, and many more. My name is Naruto, lord of the demons and the last shinobi." Most of the gods pale. They thought that it was a myth. But right now, they're seeing the rulers of every demon. The demigods were shocked. They heard of him, how he rescued various demigods, trained Achilles himself, and helped build Rome. Yes, they heard of him and were quite amazed to see him. Naruto turned to the gods, but hid by a black pin missile and a blonde one as well. "Daddy!" Artemis and Hestia yelled. Everyone heard that one word and their eyes widened in shock. Did they just say daddy? Chapter 1. A math teacher killed. It was quiet in Olympus. Everyone over there heard that one word. Why did Hestia and Artemis call him daddy? And why is Artemis hugging him affection? She's a man-hater for crying out loud. Finally, Zeus found his voice and glared at Naruto. "Artemis, why did you say father?" Zeus said, in a very dangerous tone. Artemis scowled at her biological father. "It mean that he adopted me and that he's my daddy. So is Hestia's." Hestia nodded her head, still beaming at her adopted father. Zeus pulled out his lightning bolt and was about to shoot Naruto, until Artemis shot an arrow near his head and a fireball was shot near him as well. He saw Artemis and Hestia standing in front of Naruto, glaring at him. "You will not harm him, Zeus. He is our family and if you attack him, you'll have to get through us," Hestia said. Everyone was shocked to see that Hestia was standing up to Zeus. Zeus sit back down on his throne and grumble, since he doesn't want to hurt his daughter and sister. Naruto clear his throat. "Well, let get reading shall we?" He snap his finger and couches appear. "Oh, just so you know, Naruto applied all the information of every demigod to the gods, except the fact that Percy is the son of Poseidon. Percy, Annabeth, Nico, and Talia sit on one couch. Travis, Connor, Will, and Katie sat one another. Clarice, Chris, Juniper, and Rachel sat on the third one. Jason, Leo, Piper, and Raina sat on the fourth one. Hazel and Frank got one couch for themselves, and Octavian sat on a chair, not wanting to be with any of them. Artemis and Hestia, in their child form, sat on Naruto's lap and snuggle up on him, making Zeus and Apollo glare at him. Naruto clear his throat and begin reading. "Look, I, half-blood." "Who does?" Nico said, looking down. All the demigods kid looked down for their fallen comrades and the gods looked down in shame. "If you," advises smiley face. "Oh no, duck and cover." Talia and Nico yelled, going behind the couch. The gods looked confused, while the demigods stifle a chuckle, except Percy who was pouting. Why?" Hermes asked. Talia and Nico got up from their hiding spot, shaking. "Because, unless it's a battle plan or an emotional speech," Nico started, but Talia continued. "It'll get you killed," Talia said, in utter fear. Naruto laughed and Percy blush, knowing it true. Annabeth kissed his cheek, thinking that the blush is cute. "Close this, right now." The stalls tried to close the book until Naruto gave a look that said, "If you try, you'll feel pain. Believe whatever, normal life. It might work for a little while." "Seaweed brain," Annabeth said, sitting on his lap. Meanwhile Athena was fuming on how close her daughter is to the sea spawn. Percy shrugged. "Then you might as well enjoy it, as much as you can." All demigods nodded. "Being A is dangerous." "Check," Percy said. "It's scary." "Double check," Talia and Nico said. "Most of nasty ways." "And triple check," all the demigods said, thinking about their lost comrades. The gods bowed down in shame for abandoning their kids, except Hestia, Hera, and Artemis, who doesn't have any kids. Zeus kept thinking that it was for the greater good that they left their kids. "Well then I'm glad I saved the defenseless demigods and trained them to defend themselves," Naruto said to himself, but everyone heard it. "You broke one of our laws." Zeus yelled, thunder booming. Naruto glared at Zeus with a look that promised pain, making the man whimper in fear. First of all, I don't follow anyone rules Zeus, so you can back off. And second of all, those demigods needed help and I don't ignore anyone for my own benefit. At least Poseidon help all his children and don't abandon them, high and dry, Naruto said, in a cold voice. Some of the gods look guilty, while the demigods look up to Naruto with awe and admiration. If you're ever happened, so do we, all the demigods said at once. Percy was thinking of all the battles he had to fight and his hands clenched tightly. But if, for you, so very true, every demigod said sagely. The gods was wondering how bad their children, while Hestia and Naruto grimace, remembering all the demigods they saw fighting and dying, all around the world. Don't say, warn you. You didn't warn me, Nico, Leo, and the stalls yelled. They got hit by Piper, Talia and Katie. My, Jackson, no, I'm Percy Jackson, you're Naruto, Percy exclaimed. Dionysus looked surprised. Really, I thought it was Peter Johnson, Dionysus said, from his magazine. Everyone's sweat dropped at the wine god. I'm 12, troubled kid, yes, everyone that knows Percy yelled, adding Jason. His friend and father glare at Jason for being happy with the insult. Jason scowled. Why did everyone like Percy? Meanwhile Naruto laughed, thinking that Percy is the same as he is when he was younger, while Percy shrugged knowing it was true. Yeah, you say that. Everyone laugh at that. I could prove it. Short, the god questioned. Miserable, the demigods questioned. Yep, Percy said, looking downtrodden. At this rate, I won't be able to live before my next birthday. Annabeth snuggled up into his chest, reassuring him and herself that he's not gonna die. She just got him back, she is not gonna lose him again. Rachel and Raina saw this, and glared at Annabeth. They both got a crush on him, even though one is a oracle, and even though Percy is with Annabeth, they still want him. But things, Roman stuff, that sound amazing, Athena and Annabeth said at the same time. Are you kidding? Sound like torture, Poseidon, Percy, and Naruto said at the same time. Annabeth shook her head at her boyfriend, Athena glared at Poseidon, and Hestia and Artemis just laugh at their dad. It was still an odd sight seeing Artemis showing affection for a male. I know, like torture. Athena stopped glaring at Percy. Most kids would think it's torture, especially if you're a demigod and have dyslexia and ADHD, Naruto said. Athena huffed, but stay quiet knowing it was true. Most Yancy had hopes. Sound like Chiron, Athena said. They look at Dionysus to confirm it, but he was sleeping in his magazine. Poseidon splashed a bucket of ice-cold water, making the wine god scream. Everyone laughed and Naruto kept reading. Mr. Brunner, liked coffee. Yep, it's Chiron, Athena concluded. Naruto rolled his eyes at her, since everyone else, minus Leo in the stalls, figure it out already. You wouldn't, to sleep. You sleep in class, Athena asked, horrified. Who wouldn't? Hermes, Apollo, Leo, and the stalls said in unison. I hoped. In trouble. You're asking for a miracle purse, Will said. Everyone laughed, while Percy blushed. Boy, wrong. See, Will said. Yep, definitely like me, Naruto thought. See, bad, expelled anyway. It was silence for a few minutes. Then laughter boomed all over the room. Who were you aiming at? Naruto asked, while laughing. A bunch of bullies, Percy said with a grin. And before, unplanned swim. That make everyone laugh even harder than before. The stalls got in front of Percy and got on their knees, much to Percy's embarrassment. We are forever at your command. Teach us your ways, great pranksters. Please, please, please. The stalls said in unison. Dude, you are the coolest, Leo said, with his usual grin. Jason glared at Percy. He was supposed to be the coolest, not him. He decided that Percy is his enemy and must be eliminated. And that, the idea, was the sound coming from everyone, even Athena and Hera. Percy rolled his eyes. Okay guys, on the next break all you more stories, Percy said, making everyone grin. This trip, be good. Not gonna happen, Nico, Talia, and Annabeth said in unison. Percy pouted childishly, but kept quiet. Alda, ketchup sandwich. Most of the girls turned green, while Percy, Annabeth, Talia, and Nico was steaming with rage. Naruto was thinking of ways to torture the girl, because he hated bullies. It was due to his childhood that he hated them with a passion. Grover was was crippled. Oh, I can't wait to tell Grover that, Talia said. Nico agreed. Percy glared at the two. He had his legs. Ah, Grover is so lucky, the stalls and Leo said. Hermes and Apollo nodded with them, while the girls and some of the guys shook their head at them. He walked the cafeteria. Of course, everyone that knew Grover sighed. Of course he would blow his cover for enchiladas. Anyway, Nancy, on probation. What did you do? Annabeth and Talia asked. I think a prank involving a few snakes, Percy said, thoughtfully. Naruto laughed outright, liking Percy more and more. You would have my village worst fear, if you had lived there, Naruto said. Some were wondering what village he went to, but Naruto stayed quiet. The headmaster, with death. What? Poseidon, Annabeth, Rachel, and Reina yelled. Let me finish, Naruto said, with a glare. Buy in, this trip. Oh, the four said sheepishly. Annabeth narrowed her eyes at Reina and Rachel, deciding to keep eye on them. I'm going, I mumbled. Do it, Ares and Clarice screamed. Everyone shook their head at the two, while Aphrodite whacked Ares' head. Artemis turned to her dad. Daddy, is it okay for the boy to hit at her? Ares snickered at the childish, but whimpered when he saw Naruto's scary glare. Yes, my little hunter. That girl is being a bully to him and deserve it, Naruto said. Artemis nodded and snuggled up in his chest. Grover tried. Peanut butter. Yeah, but in your hair. Apollo questioned. Idiot, Artemis mumbled. She had got slapped in the butt for that remark and she let out a little, eek. Before covering her mouth, Naruto spanked her for that little remark against her brother. He dodged. My seat. Boo, Ares and Clarice yelled, wanting more action. You're all ready? Anything happens. Yep, I'm always the one in trouble, Percy said, solemnly. Most gave him sympathy looks, while Naruto gave him an understanding look. That got Percy confused. He understand what he gone through. Looking back, myself into Poseidon, Annabeth, and Rachel paled at that. Reina's face looked mechanic, but some could tell she was nervous for Percy. Mr. Brunner, 1,000 years, longer, Athena and Annabeth automatically said. Most rolled their eyes at the two. Like mother, like daughter. He gathered, evil eye. I with my little eye, a monster who you wants to kill, Naruto said. Most paled and some look at Percy worriedly. Mrs. Dodds was, years old. She sounds familiar, Hades and Nico thought. She look, your locker. Could it be, Hades and Nico thought. She had, nervous breakdown. Yep, that's her, Hades and Nico thought fearfully. Even though Hades is close to Poseidon doesn't mean that the man won't harm him. From her, devil spawn. No, that Nico, Talia joked. Hey, Nico yelled, then pouted at her. Talia thought that was cute. Wait a minute, cute. I'm a hunter, I'm not supposed to be thinking that. But he does look cute. Gah, bad thoughts, bad thoughts. She would, a month. That's harsh, Hazel commented. Something is telling her that she knows that monster. Percy shrugged. If you think that harsh, you didn't meet my other teachers and. Percy had pain in his eyes, someone else. Many were wondering who he was talking about, but Naruto let him have his privacy. After all, he got a few secrets himself. One time, absolutely right. Grover, Annabeth and Talia yelled, while Juniper just sighed at her boyfriend. Mr. Brunner, the steel, totally wish it was Percy, Naruto muttered, but everyone heard. What? Percy said, shocked and appalled. Sorry to say this dude, but she had a crush on you since you were first at Nancy, Naruto said. Annabeth glared at Naruto and clutched Percy tightly. Percy still looked shocked, but she hates me. She try everything to get me in trouble. Percy exclaimed, waving his arm frantically. Naruto shrugged. That's how girls are sometimes with their crush. Plus, not only I'm the lord of the demon, but also the god of dreams and nightmare. I saw her having wet dreams about you, Naruto said. Percy turned green, some of the immature people starting laughing. Rachel and Reina had fire in their eyes and Annabeth clutched Percy tighter. Mr. Brunner, shut up, Hermes, Apollo, Leo, the stalls, and the surprisingly Athena clapped. Everyone looked at her like she was an imposter. What, this girl is interrupting an important history, Athena said, irritated. Everyone, understanding. It came, it too. Of course it did, Annabeth sighed, while the others laughed. Percy blushed a little, making Annabeth kiss him on the cheek. Mr. Jackson, no sir. You're cute when you blush, seaweed brain. Your face get all pink, which you look cute on you. And your eyes get all white and innocent. Annabeth giggled when Percy looked as he described. She kissed him on the cheek, making him blush further. Naruto sensed killing intent from Rachel and Reina, and stifled a chuckle from it. Look like there's gonna be a catfight soon. Mr. Brunner, picture represents. If he could do that, then I'll kiss Nico, Talia said sarcastically. Nico blushed a little, and a part of him was hoping that would happen. Naruto turned to Aphrodite, making her giggle and smile mischievously. I'll take up on that bet, Talia, Naruto said. The two shook on it, one believing that Percy couldn't and the other that have the best luck when it came to betting. Some will learn not to bet on the Demon Lord. I recognized it. No way, I lost, Talia said in utter disbelief. Naruto and Percy laughed at her face and Nico blush. Artemis wanted to stop the bet since she knew Naruto never lost a bet, ever, and doesn't want her lieutenant to kiss a male, but she remembered what happened to Hestia when she tried to stop a bet. Hestia couldn't sit down for a week. She shuddered in fear of the punishment that Naruto fitted for her. Talia and Nico stood face to face to each other, blushing up a storm. Finally, Talia moved in and kissed Nico on the lips. Zeus was about to throw a lightning storm at Nico, and Hades was about to attack Talia with his shadows, until they saw the death glares of Naruto and Aphrodite. They shuddered in fear and put their weapons away. Talia and Nico stopped kissing each other and sat back down, not looking each other in the eye. That Kronos, kids, right. 5 out of 6 of the elder gods shudder in fear, and Hestia curled up to her dad, remembering the experience. Naruto wrapped her arms around her and whispered comforting words to her, while she tried to block the memory away. When I see Kronos, I'll send him to my torture places for him. Naruto thought venomously. Yes, Mr. Brunner, God, and God, all of the gods yelled, except for Hestia and Poseidon. You dare, Zeus started, but was interrupted. I'm sure Chiron will correct him, Annabeth said, not wanting her boyfriend to be fried. God, Mr. Brunner, corrected myself, Annabeth breathed out in relief, while the gods calmed down. And he, behind me. You doesn't even describe it, Hades and Poseidon said at the same time, while Zeus is counting his lucky stars that he wasn't eaten. And so, gods won. What, how? It was centuries of fighting, and... Paragraph. Poseidon stopped laughing. Athena exclaimed. Naruto also laughed at her expression as well. Some snickers, the group. Why, he got it right, Annabeth exclaimed. Everyone shrugged. Humans are weird, Naruto reasoned, ignoring the, hey, from Rachel. Behind me, his kids. How about you be a demigod and see how you like it? Chris hissed out. Meanwhile, Naruto had a thinking look. I might add that in the nightmare land when people starts to dream. Maybe add the pain factor in as well, Naruto said to himself, but everyone heard. Most sweat dropped and scooted away from him, even Hades. And why? Real life. Busted. Leo, the stalls, Nico, Apollo and Hermes said at once. Busted, Rover muttered. Oh no, we think like a goat. All 6 said at once. They started running around the building until they got whacked by Piper, Katie, Talia, and Artemis. Shut up, her hair. That was actually pretty creepy, Percy said. Naruto snickered a little. That not something to say to your crush, Naruto teased. Percy again turned green and Annabeth glared at Naruto, but it didn't bother him. He felt Orochimaru killing intent and met Anko. He can rarely be scared. At least, Radar's ears. Or horse ears, Leo joked. Athena turned into lecture mode. Actually it one of the same thing since. Read before she starts, Poseidon yelled. Naruto complied and Athena glared at him. I thought, no sir. As always, Nico and Talia sighed. Naruto and Annabeth frowned at them. How can you expect him to find the answer? He didn't found out he was a demigod yet, Naruto reasoned, with a bit of an edge on his tone. His old teammates always belittle him, so he doesn't like it when people do the same thing. I see. Back outside. Oh Chiron, everyone said at the same time. Hermes wrote out a note to get Chiron lessons for changing subjects. The class, like doofuses. Like most men does. The only ones that doesn't is Poseidon, Percy, and Daddy, Artemis said. Percy was stunned. Poseidon beamed at his niece and Naruto kissed her on the forehead, making her blush a little and beam brightly. Everyone was stunned again at that displacement, seeing a blush on her cheek. Apollo pointed a shaky finger at her and said, "Who are you and what have you done with Artemis?" He got an arrow in his leg for that remark. Grover and, seen everything. Well, almost everything, Hestia said sadly. The elder gods and Naruto knew that Chiron seen and lose a lot. You must, Percy Jackson, and he got the best, Annabeth said proudly. All of Percy's friends agreed with her. Jason scowls. Come on, this pathetic spawn isn't the best. Only Romans are more powerful than the Greeks, Jason said, arrogantly. Most were stunned at his outburst, but got over it and glared at him, Annabeth the most. Piper and Leo couldn't believe he would say something like that. They don't know if it was his regular self, but if it was they don't like it. Naruto then got a smirk, whenever he's thinking of a prank. Artemis and Hestia squirm a little, knowing that smirk. How about this? If you're so confident, let's make a deal, Naruto said, secretly testing him. Jason smirked, thinking he could win. What the bet? Jason said. Naruto will test his loyalty to his friend. The best is that in this book, Percy will fight the most powerful monsters, the fate told me that. If he could beat and or survive most of them, you have to date with Drew. Jason and Piper pale at that, and Piper was secretly thinking that if he accepted that bet, he will suffer more Chronos, and with he doesn't I'll give you my summoning fox scroll. Artemis and Hestia gasp at that, and you can kill Percy. Percy and Annabeth paled at that, plus, if he beats something more powerful than a monster, I'll train him to become a demigod ninja. Now, Jason was fuming. Jason, still having Zeus's arrogance, said, I'll accept that bet, making most facepalm for his stupidity, Zeus cheering for his son, Percy and Annabeth getting paler, Piper looking blank, and Naruto getting a hook, line, and sinker, look. Are you crazy, dude? What about you? Asked Jason. Don't I have a say in this? If Percy dead, I'll kill you. God or no, idiot brother. Boo Jason. QUUUUUUUIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIIII. Be quiet. The ones who yelled was Leo, Piper, Percy, Annabeth, Talia, and Zeus respectively. The bet had been made and you can't stop it or change it. Sorry Piper, Annabeth, and Percy, Naruto said. Then he continued reading, ignoring Annabeth, Reina, and Rachel's glares. I wanted, so hard. It was for the best seaweed brain, Annabeth said softly. Percy nodded and kissed her forehead. I mean, them correctly. Yes, so true, all of the demigods said. The gods looked guilty again and Naruto glared at the ones who had kids and left them to fend for themselves. I mumble, girl's funeral. I'm glad Siana is at my resort, along with the others, Naruto said, gaining some looks. Some look at him with hero worship and Zeus was glaring at him for continuing breaking his rules. He told, blowing in. Everyone looked to Zeus, then to Poseidon, and finally said all at once, why are we not surprised? Poseidon pouted, while Zeus's eyes was sparking with anger. Naruto rolled his eyes at the overreaction. Nobody else, a thing. Is she one of yours? Hera asked. Hermes and his sons look insulted at the suggestion. Hades no. The book said try and a Hermes child never try, they do it. Hermes said, with his kids agreeing with him. Grover and, it elsewhere. Did you really thought like that, seaweed brain? Annabeth asked, in his lap. Percy looked down on the floor. I was born to think that way, he mumbled. Most of them looked confused, while Naruto looked at him with wide eyes. If it what I think it is, then he exactly like me, Naruto thought. Detention, Grover, a genius, agreed. Jason and Athena spoke cruelly. Annabeth, Rachel, Reina, and Talia glared at them. Talia was wondering what happening to the brother she used to know. Grover didn't. Your apple. There was silence, for a few minutes, then everybody burst out laughing. I didn't. Give me. Ares snicker. Clarice muttered, Mama boys. The goddess was cooing and saying how nice it was for a boy to miss his mother, and the demigods and Naruto had a look of envy. Mr. Brunner, cafe table, idea, Leo and Hephaestus exclaimed, writing on their journal. Aphrodite and Piper shook their head fondly at the two. Piper stop, wait fondly, they're just friend, that all they are, right? I was. Grover's lap, Talia, Annabeth, Percy, and Nico growled at the book, making a couple of people scoot back. Wow, they are more scary than the Furies, Travis whispered to Connor and Katie. Oops, liquid Cheetos. Okay, didn't needed that in my head. And I like Cheetos, Naruto said. Some nodded their head, agreeing with him. I tried, your temper. Won't work, everyone the nose said at the same time. They seen Percy temper and it can never be control. Pity the person who anger him. Percy pouted. But my ears. A wave, Zeus said. He looked suspiciously at Poseidon and said man was wiggling around nervously. I don't, grabbed her. Poseidon, Zeus roared, thunder and lightning outside, you broke the oath. He took his lightning bolt out, while Poseidon brought his trident. Yes Zeus and I don't regret it. Beside, you broke the oath too. Poseidon growled. Zeus aimed his bolt at Percy and shot him. Percy, with wide eyes, pushed his friends away from him and took the shot. An explosion took place. No, the demigods minus Jason yelled. Annabeth, Talia, Rachel, and Raina broke down and cried. Clarice, the Stalls, Katie, Will, Chris, Nico, Juniper, Hazel, and Frank cried as well, with the couples comforting each other. Clarice and Chris, Hazel and Frank. Jason and Octavian grinned like it was Christmas for him. Piper and Leo had tears in their eyes as well, but also glare at Jason and Zeus for being happy with the death of such a nice person, and Poseidon was crying because his son was killed. Then they heard a roar of rage and they saw Naruto, standing in front of Percy with rage in his eyes. Zeus, Naruto roared out with his demon voice. Before Zeus could strike again, Naruto made 2 shadow clones and hold Zeus at his throne. Naruto went in front of Zeus and performed a Rasengan in his hand. He then smashed in Zeus' torso and the sky god screamed in pain. Many were watching Naruto punishing Zeus for his action and was amazed at his power. Aphrodite, Demeter, and surprisingly Hera look at him with hearts in their eyes. Ares, Apollo, Dionysus and Hermes was sharing a bag of popcorn liking the entertainment. Athena was frowning at him for saving the sea spawn. Hephaestus and Hades look indifferent about this, though there was a twitch on Hades' mouth. Hestia and Artemis was looking at him with stars in their eyes, seeing their father perform his most deadly power. And Poseidon was looking at him with gratitude in his eyes for saving his son. As for the demigods, they looking at him with awe, gratitude, and anger. For awe the Stalls, Will, Chris, Clarice, Juniper, and Katie. For gratitude Annabeth, Raina, Talia, Rachel, Hazel, Frank, and Nico. For anger Octavian and Jason. Zeus, you nearly made the biggest mistake in your life. This boy is the savior of the earth and you almost cause a war with high death. Many would rebel against you god or demigod and would have overrun you. If you ever attack any of these demigods, just know they have my protection. Understand, Naruto yelled out. Zeus, too scared to say anything, just nodded rapidly. Naruto sat down with Artemis and Hestia getting back on his lap. Percy sat down with Annabeth, Raina, Rachel, and Talia grabbing onto him arm one way or another to know that he's still alive. Nico decided to sit with Hazel since the seats are occupied. Naruto calmed down and started reading again. I didn't. Erasing workbooks. Never guess your punishments. Hermes, his kids, and Naruto said. When all faces turned to Naruto he decided to explain. Back when I was mortal, I was the best pranker over at the Leaf Village. I even managed to prank the leader of the village. The only I prank are arrogant jerks, perverts, and idiots. Naruto said. The god of thieves and his sons beam at him, while some was sweating. How good is he at pranking? Judging from the pale faces and shivers from Artemis and Hestia, very good. That wasn't to death. And yet, he decided to stick up for you, Naruto said. He turned to Percy. I envy you, Percy. I wish I had a friend like that, back at home when I was your age. Now everyone was wondering what kind of past he have. And how bad was it? I don't. Now, seriously, what with the honey thing? Naruto asked, while Nico and Hades mumble, she still does that. Nancy Bobofit, later stare. Nico, Talia, Clarice, and the Stalls shiver. You do not want to be the receiving end of one of those, Nico said, then Talia continued, I agree with death breath here. It's more scary than all the titans combined. Of course, Jason had to say something. Please, I bet that stare wouldn't even scare a mice, Jason said. The 5 that received that horrifying stare, Look at him like he had a death wish. Percy shrugged and gave him that glare. Jason turned deathly white and pee his pants. That glare was like staring at death itself. Needless to say, he will have nightmares along with the others except Naruto, who look intrigued by that glare. Then so fast. The temperature dropped very fast and Naruto whisper, "Monster." Talia and Annabeth gripped on Percy's hands tightly to reassure themselves that Percy was alive. Poseidon gripped on his trident tightly and Hades glanced fearfully at the sea god. Meanwhile Naruto was reading with rapt attention to see what this demigod can do. "I have. So sure. Good. Trust your instincts," Naruto muttered subconsciously. It good to see that Percy got good instinct for his age, on the book. "I went, Mrs. Dodds." Annabeth began to whimper in worry, so Percy wrapped an arm around her waist and whispered sweet words to her, telling her that he's alive and safe. Aphrodite would have yelled, "Cute," if she wasn't worried as well. Halfway his novel. Chiron, Annabeth, Nico, Talia, Rachel, and Poseidon scream in disbelief. Percy was about to be attacked and he's reading a book. Look, the plan. No kidding, Sherlock, Jason said, sarcastically. He got a nasty shock for that remark, courtesy of Talia. I followed, was empty. By now most were shaking with anticipation and worry. Anticipation on what gonna happen. Worry for their friend, son, cousin, nephew. Mrs. Dodds, like growling. She is growling, Athena said, trying to break the tension, but everyone shush her. Well, Athena said, even without, yes ma'am. Did he just said what I think he just said? All of Percy's friends said. They couldn't believe that he just shows somebody respect. I guess feared is something that make you do impossible things. She tugged. Hurt me. Wrong. Zeus sang gleefully. Most of the goddesses, meaning not Athena, slap him for being happy with this. Even Hera. I said, less pain. Annabeth was clutching Percy real tightly in worry. Even though he's still here she still worries. I didn't. Dorm room. Awesome. Leo yelled, causing Piper to bash his head, again. The stalls begin to kneel to Percy again. We are your humble servants. We are at your command at any time, they said at the same time. They got whacked by Katie. Or maybe, the book. Naruto laughed seeing Athena's face. She looked like she was gonna explode. Before she could say anything, Naruto decided to intervene. Athena, you forget that the demigods are dyslexic, so it won't be their favorite pastime for most of them. Well, other than your child's, Naruto said, making Athena huff. Ma'am, 2 ribbons. A fury, all of the demigods yelled. Talia rounded up to Percy, glaring at him. You never told me your first monster was a fury. Talia yelled. Percy shrunk down from his, seeing the glares from Rachel, Reina, and Talia. I didn't think it was important, Percy mumbled, causing the glares to intensify. It extremely important. I face a fury with training and nearly died. Talia exclaimed. Percy held his hand up. Look, I'm alive am I? Plus, it was 5 years ago so you don't need to worry, Percy said. Meanwhile Jason was in shock. His first monster was a fury. And he survived. While the demigods were talking, Poseidon was beating the poo out of Hades. Apollo and Hermes was sharing popcorn, Ares was cheering, Athena was booing, and the rest looked bored. Finally, Naruto intervened to save Hades from any more beating. He grabbed the back of Poseidon's shirt and pulled him away from Hades. Poseidon, Percy will survive. He's over there right now with his friends, so calm down. Naruto said, with a serious voice. Poseidon nodded and sat back down, still have fury in his face. Naruto and Hestia healed up Hades and sat him back down on the throne. Hades flinched under Poseidon's stares. After everyone calmed down, Naruto got back reading. Then things, his hand, a pen, most of the people said. They blink, then blink again. Finally, Jason starts laughing madly. Ha 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 ha, a pen, the sea spawn gonna lost, Jason said, laughing. Many glared at him, but Percy just smirked so did Poseidon. What ho, my ear. Everyone excluding Jason, Ares, Octavian, Dionysus, and Zeus let out a breath they were holding in. Meanwhile, Percy felt something near his ear. It was probably just the wind, Percy thought, but his sixth sense says otherwise. I snatched. Tournament day. What? Jason said, gobsmack. The rest were grinning. Some of them forgot that it was Riptide. Percy pulled out the pen and uncapped it, revealing the bronze sword, Riptide. Naruto smirk. Hey Percy, how about we duel after chapter 3? I want to test your strength, Naruto said. Percy nodded, looking determined as Naruto. Mrs. Dodds, the sword, wimp, Jason and Ares muttered, while Octavian laughed silently. They all got drenched in salt water for their troubles. She snarled, the sword. How is that natural? Frank exclaimed. Everyone shrugged and dismissed it as Percy being Percy. The metal, hiss. The stalls and Leo cheered, while many looked at Percy with awe. Zeus' paranoid mind was thinking that Percy will be dangerous in the future and must be killed. Jason watched Percy get looked at with admiration and being praised, with jealousy. Percy getting uncomfortable and silently tell Naruto to read. The demon lord complied, feeling sympathy for the demigod. Mrs. Dodds, watching me, some shiver, while others give Percy sympathy glances. He must have had bad nightmares if he faced a fury. I was, but me. The mist still affect you. HMMPH, as expected from a sea spawn, Athena said, ignoring her daughter's glare, even though it hurt. Meanwhile, Percy was getting downtrodden with the insults. Does most people see him as an idiot? My hands, or something. Hermes and the stalls had an idea in their head. Before they could say anything, Demeter and Katie yelled, no, and gather their mushrooms protectively in their arms. Don't ask me where the mushrooms came from. The pranksters pouted. Had I, whole thing? Nope, Apollo said, cheerfully. Artemis muttered, idiot, under her breath. I went. Your butt. Who? Poseidon, Talia, and Naruto said. I said, who? Most of them laughed except Jason, who was steaming red, while Poseidon, Talia, Naruto, and Percy just grinned at each other. Our teacher, with me. Hermes and his kids shook their heads sadly, Dionysus and the demigod sigh. They all know about Grover lying skills. Not funny, boomed overhead. Okay, what are mad about this time, Zeus? Hera said, in exasperation. Zeus shrugged. My bet, probably his precious bolt missing. He loves it more than his wife, Naruto said, grinning. Most laugh. Hera nodded in agreement and Zeus and Jason glared at Naruto. I saw. All right. Hermes and his kids gave a thumbs up at Chiron's lying skill. Okay, who next? Naruto said. Poseidon raised his hands. Naruto throw him the book and Poseidon began to read. Chapter 2. 3 old ladies knit the sock of death. Poseidon reads, and before he could finish there was a bright glow and 2 figures are standing in the middle of the room. It was everyone's favorite satyr and a baby in a crib. Grover, the Greek demigods and Juniper yelled. Grover looked to where the screams were at and smiled. Hey guys, where you've been? Grover asked. They quickly tell him about the book and what they read. Grover eyes widened when he heard about the demon lord, glare at Percy for his description, and got chastised for lying badly by the stalls and Hermes. Now, everyone turned their attention to the crib. Rachel decided to go up there since she is good with kids, as much as Percy and Hera is. When she looked in there, her eyes got wide. It's a baby version of Percy. At that, everyone's eyes got wide and looked to see. She's right, in the crib is a baby with sea green eyes and jet black hair. The baby is making babbling noises that make Aphrodite squeal. She grabbed the baby and twirled him around. Oh, look how adorable he is, Aphrodite exclaimed, hugging the baby. The toddler liked this affection and hugs back. The love goddess squealed louder. Some of the demigods' ears is starting to ring. After everyone's ears started back working, everyone got back to their seats with Grover sitting with Juniper, who kissed him, and Aphrodite cuddling the baby Percy. I was over quickly. Got that right, Percy said, agreeing with himself. Most demigods agree with him, since they suffer the weird experience he did during their times as regular people. This 20, on me. Ooh, maybe we do a trick on Percy when he gets back, Connor said. Travis, Leo, and Nico agreed with him, until they felt a swish and saw a bronze dagger on the wall. Suffice to say, their planning stopped. The students, since Christmas. Ah, the mist, sometimes an annoyance, sometimes our savior, Rachel said, with people nodding in agreement. They all seen what the mist can do, and it mostly an annoyance to them. Every so, was Psycho. Well, mostly everyone one of us crazy in some way, Frank said, causing some to glare at him. He started to sweat. What it true? Athena's child are deathly afraid of even the smallest of spiders, Some of Demeter's childs is obsessed with cereal, Ares' childs are obsessed with weapons, Juniper is a tree, Grover is obsessed with enchiladas, and do I need to point the big three's children problems? Frank said, making everyone conceited. They're still myth though. It got, almost, 5 drachmas, says it's Grover, Hermes said to Apollo. He agreed quickly, causing to Naruto to laugh. Suckers bet, Naruto muttered to Hestia and Artemis, making them giggle a little. But Grover, fool me. Pay up, Hermes said, causing Apollo to grumble and hand out the coins. Naruto laugh again, so did Artemis and Hestia. When I was lying. Never hesitate, Hermes and his children snapped, while the other side. Juniper hit her boyfriend on the head for his horrible plan. Baby Percy laughed at that. Something was, the museum. No kidding, Jason said, sarcastically. Naruto narrowed his eyes at him. This guy remind him too much a certain Uchiha and he doesn't like it, one bit. I didn't, cold sweat. Yeah, it's the second most scariest dream I've ever had, Percy said, causing everyone to look at him. What is your first? Hazel asked, curious. Percy flinched. It'll say so in the book and if it don't, I tell you, Percy said, not wanting to retell his worst dream. Everyone nodded, satisfied. The freaky, that year. Seriously, what got you angry, Uncle Z? Apollo said. Zeus shrugged. There's many things that makes him angry, but he's not sure which option is making him angry. Naruto eyes narrowed, from what Artemis and Hestia told him, that he'd only struck lightning when angry. Now he's making tornadoes, even more planes started crashing down, and the thunderstorms are even bigger than ever. Just what is making Zeus so angry about? I started, to F's. Annabeth just fondly shook her head, while Athena looked like she'd been told she had breast cancer. I got, every class. Woo-woo, Clarice and Ares shouted. Chris just shook his head at his girlfriend, but Aphrodite hit Ares on the head. Baby Percy laughed, thinking that was funny. Again, the baby said. Aphrodite smirked and hit Ares again, causing many to laugh, Hephaestus the loudest. Ares glared at the baby, who only gave him a raspberry. Finally, when sounded good. Everyone laughed at that. For those of you who doesn't know, look at the drunk reading a wine magazine and you know what it means, Naruto said. That caused everyone to laugh harder and Dionysus to glare at Naruto. The headmaster, Yancy Academy. Hazel sighs and mumbled, poor Percy, under her breath. If she think Percy is having it bad now, she would soon change her mind. Fine, I was homesick. Ah, does little Percy miss his mommy? Jason said, mockingly. Percy glared at him, but before he could say anything, a wave of saltwater hit the arrogant demigod. When he glared Percy and Poseidon, they hold their hands up and said, I didn't do it. He then heard laughing and looked to see the baby Percy playing with floating water. The goddesses and girls minus Athena and Clarice cooed, while the guys minus Zeus laughed at the rage on Jason's face. I wanted poker parties. Percy's eyes darkened at the mention of his old stepfather and growled. Everyone looked at him, surprised. Who was his stepfather? It obviously wasn't Paul to the people who met him, since the man is nice and never play poker. So who is Percy talking about? Naruto narrowed his eyes at Percy. He decided to make a promise. If Percy was abused by his stepdad, he'd tell others about his past so Percy won't gain too many looks. He know the boy doesn't want any pity so he'll help him out. And yet, little strange. Grover smiled and give a thumbs up to Percy, even though he did call him strange. He did acted strange on occasions when he senses monsters nearby. Percy smiled as well and gave a thumbs up back. I worried, without me, I wouldn't be here, that's what, Grover said, with a shrug. Percy huffed. Well, excuse me for not figuring out you were staying there because of me. Percy said sarcastically. Everyone chuckled at the blush on Grover's face. I'd do well. Wait, you mean teachers wouldn't help or encourage you? Will asked. Percy looked away and Naruto got a vein in his head. Humans, so quick to judge and do what they think is right. Naruto growled. He then mumbles something about bad teachers and giving them nightmares, making everyone sweat drops. They wonder if he hate humans that badly. As exam, studied for. What? Athena yelled, horrified. Naruto laughed at the look on her face and Percy squirmed a little under her glare, until Annabeth glared at her back. I hadn't, believe him. Good, Poseidon said, with a relieved sigh. He want his son to be as safe as possible. The kid got good instincts, Naruto said, then turned to Percy. You definitely make a good ninja. Percy blushed at the praise, while Jason fumed. The evening, dorm room. Now, Athena looked like she's having a stroke. Baby Percy laughed at the expression, making the goddess cooed at the sweet laughter. How can anyone throw such important history? Athena said, her eyes wide and barely breathing. Annabeth isn't reacting like that, because she isn't upset about it as her mom is. She is still giving her boyfriend a glare though, making him squirm a little. Words had, riding skateboards. That's how most demigods feel, Chris said, with nods of agreement from the other demigods. The gods once again felt guilty for giving their children that curse. They looked down in shame and slumped their shoulder. There was, in Karen. Well, you definitely know now, Grover said, causing laughter from Annabeth and Percy. Especially since one can trample you and the other can choose whether or not to be in the underworld, Annabeth said. Percy paled a little and vowed a nod mix-up to name. Well, the name they'll understand if you try to write it. But calling them the opposite names is a bad idea, Naruto said, trust me. I met a few demigods who did that and barely got away without injuries. A lot of demigods pale and vow the same thing Percy did. Or polydicts, forget it. That is easy, Jason said, smugly finally find something to beat Percy at. The Greeks and the Romans, minus Octavian, scowl at him. We're Greek Grace, not Roman, Clarice said, making Jason scowl. Percy decides to add fuel to the fire. I actually learned how to speak it now. Everyone except the Romans and Naruto stare at Percy in disbelief. Prove it, Rachel challenged. Percy grinned and spoke in Latin, making the Romans stifle and then blow out laugh. Except Jason and Octavian, who glare at him. What did he say? Annabeth asked demanded. She hated not knowing things. Percy grinned at her. I said that Jason looked like his dad and that Zeus looked like a rock. The Greeks and the gods, sans Zeus, blow out laugh after that. I paced my shirt. Percy started to feel hot and bother and now is wondering what is going on. The baby Percy felt that as well in wine. Aphrodite rocked the baby to try and calm it down and it worked for now. Naruto saw the reaction and narrowed his eyes. Just what did the fates do Percy? I remember, mythology book. Good, Athena said, with a stiff nod. Naruto rolled his eyes at the owl goddess and then grinned getting an idea. He whispered it to Artemis and Hestia, and they both got the same grin he did, once he finished. Naruto gathered all the Ika Paradise books, a secret stash that Artemis found from Athena. Artemis gathered up wood from her hand, and Hestia gathered up fire. They all got to the middle of the room and Naruto showed her the book, making Athena's eyes widen. Where did you get that? Athena asked, nervous. The gods look at her, wondering what she's nervous about. Artemis found it in your home. Athena glared at Artemis, who just gave an uncharacteristic grin back, and Athena, how shame. I had no idea that you're interested in the pervy sage's porn books, Naruto said, making everyone look at the gods and demigods stare at her surprise. She is interested in porn. Athena, one of the virgin goddess. Suddenly, Poseidon started laughing and fall of his seat. Athena, virgin goddess, reads, porn. Poseidon gasps out. Eventually, Hermes and Apollo starts laughing. Then the stalls. Then Leo. Eventually everyone starts laughing except Athena herself, Annabeth who feels embarrassed, and Zeus. Athena turned bright scarlet as Apollo's son and then stared in horror when she saw what's in Hestia's and Artemis's hands. What are going to them? She asked, fearfully. Naruto grinned got bigger. The things we always do to every perverted book, Naruto said. Hestia then looked like the wood on the ground and Naruto put the Makeout series in there and watch it burn. No, Athena screamed and she cried, trying to stop the fire. Everyone laughed at that except Annabeth, who buried her face in Percy's shoulder in embarrassment, and the ones who hated perverted things cheered Rachel, Raina, Katie, and Artemis. After the laughter died down, everyone got back to their seats and continued reading. Athena is still crying for her lost books. I'd never helped before. Can't blame you, if the teachers there belittle you, Naruto said, with a little venom in his voice. He has an extreme hate for teachers, considering most of them in the academy tried to stunt in his education. Keyword, try. Naruto's past will be different. Maybe if, hadn't tried. Were you really thought that? Talia asked. Once again, Percy looked away. Many of them give him sad glances, except Jason, Zeus, Octavian, and Naruto. The first three, because of obvious reasons, and Naruto because he knows the boy doesn't want pity. I walked. Percy, sir. How much you want to bet he'll eavesdrop? Hermes asked. Apollo just grinned. Suckers bet. No kid can resist listening, Apollo said. All the gods nodded in agreement. The demigods pouted, even Clarice. I froze, an eavesdropper. Yeah right, and I'm the Queen of England, Talia said, sarcastically. The stalls looked surprised. You are, they asked. Talia blinked, then blink again, and finally got up and hit those two in the head. No, you idiots, I was being sarcastic, Talia hissed. The stalls grumble, but kept quiet, not wanting to face her wrath. But I, an adult, told ya, Hermes sing to the demigod. Said demigods grumble, but kept quiet knowing it's true. I inched, mature more. We're still waiting for that, Nico said, causing everyone laugh, some for cruel reasons, and Percy scowl. Before he could speak, Naruto decided that enough is enough. Okay, that's it, I had enough of his friends belittling him, Naruto exclaimed, giving them a fierce stare. The demigod shrank under the stare. You all know about his past. Knows how he's treated at school, and you're not helping his self-esteem. He get more and more depressed the more you belittle him. Percy tried to protest, but Naruto gave a stare that says, shut up and sit down. He complied. So if you're his friends, then stop belittling him, otherwise you're no better than the bullies at school. After he finished, Talia and Nico looked guilty, along with most of the demigods. Except Jason, Piper, and Leo, because they didn't belittle him, and Jason for obvious reasons. Plus Octavian for again, obvious reasons. But he, still can. If you saw what's my life like, then you wouldn't say that, Chiron. Percy grumbles to himself, but everyone heard it. They all had one thought. What happened, sir, of that? Yeah, but you forget that you have a goat boy that is horrible at lying, Naruto said, sarcastically. Most laugh, while Grover blushed and grumbled at being called goat boy. Juniper kissed his cheek, making him blush further. Sir, I would mean. Yes, satyr, I would cut your legs and use it as my snack. Zeus growled. Grover whimper and shrink under the glare until Talia, Annabeth, Percy, and Juniper step in and glare at him. Juniper's and Talia's glares are the hardest. You will not touch my boyfriend, Juniper growled, making everyone stare at her surprise. It was not his fault, Percy exclaimed, bringing out Riptide. And it never will be, Annabeth said, bringing out her knife. I made that choice and I don't regret it, Talia said. Zeus glared at all of them, but before he could say anything, Naruto cut in. Also Zeus, it basically your fault this happened. Zeus wanted to yell at him, but one glare shut him up. You knew Hades and Poseidon would be miffed at you if you did that. You knew the consequences, and yet, you didn't do a single thing to protect her. The only thing you did was turn her into a tree. If anybody is at a fault at what happened, it's you, Naruto said, making Zeus slump his shoulder. Grover sent them all a grateful look and kissed Juniper on the lips. Juniper blushed a little, but snuggled up to Grover like Annabeth due to Percy. After everyone is seated and Zeus stopped sulking, they started back reading. You haven't, next fall. What? Poseidon screamed. He turned to Aphrodite and looked at the baby she's holding. Can I hold my son, Aphrodite? I want to hold him, to reassure myself that he's all right, Poseidon pleaded. Aphrodite thought about it for a minute and gave him the baby. Daddy, baby, Percy said, snuggling up to his father. The goddesses and demigods, San Clarice, though she does have a smile, cooed over that. It is real cute to see a father and son bonding. The mythology, a thud. No, never reveal your position, Hermes exclaimed. The stalls looked like they would have a heart attack, and Chris shook his head and kept saying, that is not my father. That is not my father. Mr. Brunner, the hall. Good. Find a hiding spot. And wait there till the time is right, the stall said in Hermes' grin. He might become a good thief and pranksters just yet, Hermes said, still grinning. Naruto grinned as well. Maybe I could him, Naruto said to himself, but Artemis and Hestia heard it though. They got a look of horror and made a silent prayer for the demigods, despite being gods themselves. A shadow, Archer's bow. Why is Chiron revealing his form? Demeter questioned. Maybe he should get more cereal to Hades and Nico made shadows and wrapped them around Demeter's mouth and said to Thing Poseidon. Read, now. Poseidon quickly did. I opened, slipped inside. Naruto smirk. Yep, definitely make a good pranker. He thought. A few, exams tomorrow. Grover groaned, remembering every single test he took. Juniper rubbed his back to make him feel better and he looked at her in thanks. Don't remind, the dorm. Yep, definitely will make a good pranker and thief. Hermes, the stalls, and Naruto thought. Hermes and the stalls grin, while Naruto smirk his prankster smirk. Grover was, all night. He's good act, but not acting. Apollo said, gobsmacked. Grover grin a little. Hey, tired. Did you believe that? Connor asked, looking at Grover. Grover didn't say anything, just looked down. Everyone laughed at that. I turned, for bed. Not gonna work, idiot, Athena said, rolling her eyes. Percy frowned and before he could say anything, Annabeth decided to intervene. Mother, he didn't know he was a satyr, much less knows he could read emotion, so back off, Annabeth said, fiercely. Athena looked surprised at the tone she used, before she turned around and huff. She would need to talk to her daughter about her relationship with the sea spawn. Percy kissed her cheek in thanks and Annabeth snuggled up to him again. I didn't, of danger. I hope the monsters will injure you badly, Jason said, smirking arrogantly. He got drenched in salt water for that one, also glares from Raina, Annabeth, Rachel, and Talia. The next, Latin exam. 3 hours. Everyone screamed except Athena. The gods looked surprised that a mortal would put that much time and the demigods looked like they were facing their greatest fears, even Raina and Clarice looked scared. I rather die, Leo exclaimed, wide eyes and shaking like a leaf. I hate to say, but I agree with Leo, Piper said, subconsciously holding his hand in fear. The others agreed as well. I would rather live with the Greeks than face that, Octavian said, holding a teddy bear like a lifeline. It's terrifying, Annabeth whispered, burying her face in Percy's chest. Even the Athena child can't last in that. Athena looked miffed. Come on, daughter, it's not that bad, Athena said. Annabeth shook her head and buried head even further. No, mother, demigods are dyslexic and have ADHD. We cannot survive 5 minutes, much less 3 hours. Annabeth reasoned. Athena huffed, but kept quiet. Naruto wondered why Chiron would give him such cruel time. My eyes, back inside. The omen says that the sea brat is gonna get insulted, Octavian said. Raina, Annabeth, Talia, Rachel, and surprisingly Clarice glared at him. With the questioning's looks she sighed. I see the Prissy as my little brother, as much as Talia does. Okay. Clarice said, everyone, all in understanding, and Jason fumed since Talia is his sister, not the sea spawn. For the best. Really, that the best he could say. Naruto said, everyone agreed with him as well. His tone, her lips. I'm gonna kill her, Annabeth growled out. Percy is hers and hers only. Rachel and Raina have fire in their eyes, glaring at the book. Percy kissed Annabeth in the forehead to get her to calm down. It gave the results and Annabeth cuddled into his chest. Raina and Rachel saw this and secretly glared at her. Annabeth glared back. Is there sparks between them? Aphrodite squealed when she saw the cute scene and then smirked when she saw the jealous glares. A 4-square love triangle. This is gonna be fun. I mumbled, of time. Naruto banged his head on the recliner and said, idiot, each time, while the Annabeth, Rachel, Talia, Raina, Poseidon, and Nico glare at the book. Just so you know, Nico is gonna see Percy as a big brother. I know that he's gay in the canon and have a crush on Percy, but this isn't canon and I would rather watch Lee and Gai Genjutsu Sunset before putting gay people in my stories. No offense to any gay dudes out there, but I'm a Christian and Dad would kill me if I did that. Here was, kicked out. The next time I see Chiron, I'm cutting his hooves and tail. Annabeth growled out. The girls who got crushes on Percy or see him as a little brother nodded in agreement, Poseidon and Nico as well. Right, to be. Hermes, write in your notepad to teach Chiron how to give a pep talk, Naruto said, facepalming at Chiron's bad pep talking. On it, Hermes said, writing on his notepad. Thanks, already gone. The demigod suddenly got guilty for making fun of Percy. It was obvious that he didn't have a lot of self-esteem. So why did they make fun him? Talia and Annabeth felt it the most. When they first met him, they weren't the nicest to him. Face it, they were jerks. And no wonder he didn't catch up on Annabeth's obvious feelings. Naruto saw this and smiled. Maybe they can stop saying that he's stupid. The other, of nobodies. Hey, all of the gods shouted. Okay, your father I understand, but your uncle is the king of gods. Zeus exclaimed. Poseidon rolled his eyes and baby Percy laughed the noise. They asked, the fall. You had to work in the summer. Hestia asked, surprise. Percy looked down. I had to get the money for Gabe, Percy said, making everyone look at him. Wait a minute, what Gabe are you talking about? Naruto asked. If it's the same Gabe that is in his prison right now, then respect for Percy have gone up and his anger at Gabe is up as well. Oh, one, never existed. That was rude, Hazel said, with a huff. Frank agreed with her. Percy shrugged. Bullies are mean. I mean, lots of us got bullied, except Ares' children. They probably beat the bullies with hands, feet, and/or heads. Percy said and everyone nodded in agreement. Ares got a cocky grin on his face and Clarice puffed her chest proudly. The city. Stalker, Hermes, Apollo, Leo, Nico, and the stalls yelled out. They all got whacked by their respective women. Naruto snickered. No, a true stalker is someone who follows you in the shadows. That's a stalker, Naruto said, making everyone who look at him. When he saw the questioning looks he said, personal experience, making everyone nod in understanding. During the kindly ones, that gave me a heart attack, Grover grumbled. Percy apologetic at Grover and Naruto laugh. Grover nearly, his seat. Everyone laugh, while Grover blush, making Juniper giggle at her boyfriend. Well what, the exam? Oh come on, never confess. Hermes exclaimed, with the stalls nodding as well. Again, Chris keep repeating that this is not his father. Grover's eye, deadline. Meaning the whole thing, Naruto said, with a grin. Percy blush and Annabeth kiss his cheek at the blush. Baby Percy pull on his dad's sleeve and pointed at Annabeth. You want to go to her? Poseidon asked. When the baby nodded, he gave the baby to Annabeth and she smiled at the baby. Hey seaweed brain, Annabeth said. Baby Percy smile, liking the name and snuggle up to Annabeth. Annabeth hold him tight and snuggle up against Percy. Athena looked like she was going to kill the baby in the older version of Percy, but didn't knowing that her daughter wouldn't like it. He winced, math teachers. Suddenly, Hermes got up and gave Grover a business card. Grover gave Hermes a look that asked, what? This is a business card for when you need lying lesson. Call me at 5 p.m. and I'll fix that problem, Hermes said, serious, making everyone sweat drop. Grover. Bad liar. Too true, Percy, Annabeth, Talia, Nico, the stalls, and Hermes said, making everyone laugh and Grover to turn pink again. Pink, like right now, Piper said, laughing. The others laugh with her and Grover blush. From his, 800-009-0009. Why is it in cursive? Zeus asked. Dionysus looked up from his magazine and chuckled. I see funny watching demigods trying to read that, Dionysus said, still chuckling. Zeus and the demigods glare at him, but before they could say anything Naruto threw a knife at him. He glared at him with death in his eyes, making everyone shiver. If you don't change it right now, I'll change every wine you drink into water. Understand, Naruto said, coldly. Dionysus pale and quickly nodded. What camp, at Yancy? Did you really think like that? Grover asked. Percy looked down, embarrassed. Yeah, I wasn't used to having to friends, Percy said. Grover smiled. Best friend forever, right? Grover said, grinning. Percy grinned back and nod. They gave each other a fist bump, causing Naruto to smile. Those two are true friends. Okay, I need you. Annabeth was about to hit him, until he held her hands and said, wait and listen. It too. See, Percy said, making Annabeth blush. She nodded and got back to cuddling the two seaweed brains. Grover blush, defended me. Artemis stared at him, stunned that he would defend a friend like that. She only know a few men that she respect, maybe like and Percy is slowly getting on the list. Hestia is proud of Percy. Her dad is right, Percy is just like him. Loyal to the end, she really liked that in a person. Naruto smiled. He was right about Percy. He is a good demigod and very loyal one at that. Grover sent him a grateful look and Percy sent a grin back. Grover, I, me from. Oh, nothing. Just every single monster and titan in existence, Clarice said sarcastically, but inside she is worried for Prissy. Poseidon, Pale and Annabeth, Reyna, and Rachel kept telling himself that he's fine and he'll survive. There was the highway. What's going on? Nico asked slowly, worried for his brother. Can you blame him? Percy has the worst luck ever. After a fruit stand, Demeter and Katie at the word fruit. Their eyes got a scary gleam and they licked their lips, making the Lord of the Underworld and his son nervous. The stuff of ice. Demeter and Katie are practically drooling now. They turned to Hades and Nico, with a crazed look in their eyes and said at the same time, "You will buy us the fruit after this chapter." No exception. They emphasized that point with a glare that would make Alecto hide in her cave. The two quickly nodded, not wanting to face their wrath. There were, ever seen, socks, Athena said, furrowing her eyebrows. That seemed familiar, but she doesn't know from where. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the book. He recognized the fate immediately. Just what were they at and why are near Percy? He is going to have a talk with them after this book. I mean, blue yarn. Athena gasped, the fates. What? Everyone but Naruto scream. All of them look at Percy, who turned his head away from them. Annabeth looked pissed. You never told me you saw the fate. Annabeth screamed, punching him in the chest several times. After a few seconds, Percy took a hold of her arms and Annabeth buried her face into his chest and hugging the baby Percy tightly as well. Talia, Rachel, and Reyna looked close to crying. Talia, because she couldn't lose her brother, and Reyna and Rachel, because they love Percy as much as Annabeth does. They couldn't help but fall for the son of Poseidon, but he's with Annabeth and they could accept that. That didn't stop them from showing a little affection or glaring at Annabeth. Nico is extremely worried for Percy. He couldn't lose his big brother. He already lost his mother and his sister. He couldn't lose his big brother. The others are worried for Percy as well. They all like Percy and he helped each of them with something, even Clarice. To lose would a major stab in the heart. The only demigods who isn't worried is Jason and Octavian, who has neutral faces. Poseidon is extremely worried for his son and is hyperventilating. Seeing the fate is not a good omen. If they cut his string he will die. He hoped that is not the case. Demeter, Hestia, Apollo, Hera, Aphrodite, Hephaestus, Hades and Artemis is worried for Percy. Dionysus as well, though he will never show or admit it. They like this demigod and doesn't want him to die. Zeus, Ares, and Athena are actually leaning into the book. You don't need a mind reader to know why they're looking forward to this. Naruto is also concerned for Percy and suspicious of the fates. All three, at me. No, Annabeth whispered, burying her face further into his chest. Percy wrapped his arm around her to calm down. Baby Percy hugged her as well, sensing the girl distress. Rachel and Reyna grabbed and forearmed to reassure themselves. Percy didn't object since he knew they needed this. I look, aren't they? Please say no, Rachel and Reyna muttered. Percy gave them each a smile to tell them that it's okay. It helped a little. Yeah, weird, at all, agreed, the stalls said. They are expert at what's funny and what's not. They know when to be serious and when to be funny. This is not the time to be funny. The old, like Shears. No, Annabeth whispered, her voice pleading. She's clutching Percy's shirt, like it's the only thing there to keep her sane. Athena hates seeing her daughter like this, but want to see the string cut. We're getting in there. Just go. His friend, except for Annabeth, and Poseidon shouted. Annabeth just bury her face further into Percy's chest. Please go, Annabeth muffled into his shirt. Come on, stayed back. Talia hugged Percy for comfort. Could you blame her? She think of Percy as her brother and couldn't lose him. Percy felt uncomfortable comforting the two girls, but tried nothing less, with the help of the baby version of himself. Jason is fuming. Talia cares for the sea spawn and a little bit heartbroken, but kept quiet. Across, of traffic, no, Annabeth cried in Percy's shirt, her tears set free. Reyna, Talia, and Rachel started crying as well, so did Nico. Poseidon is muttering, no, under his breath, not believing it. The others looked distressed as well. They all love Percy as a friend or sibling. They couldn't lose him. Even Piper and Leo is worried, even though they didn't know him for that long. Piper is clutching Leo's hands tightly, not really noticing. Leo noticed, but didn't say anything. The only ones who isn't distressed is Jason and Octavian. Plus Zeus, Ares, and Athena. Naruto is having his own thoughts. He recognized the string and it was not Percy's. Why is the fate showing Luke's string cut? What is the purpose? He is going to find answers soon. Her too, or Godzilla. So not funny, Connor moan and Travis nod in agreement. It was not the time for jokes. Not at all. To life. Great now it runs, Hephaestus said, furious with the working of that bus. He's gonna find the people who design it and smash them with his hammer. The passengers, the flu. At that, Percy turned green, so did the baby Percy. Okay, now he's starting to wonder what's going on. Naruto found out what happened to him, but need more proof to confirm it. Grover didn't, telling me everything, Nico muttered, but everyone heard him. He got a lot of glares for that one. He dabbed, are they? Worse, young hero, much worse, Hestia said, bravely. She like the demigod and she think her father, her adopted one, like him as well. His expression, almost older. I am surprised he figured that out, Athena said, causing everyone that likes Percy to glare at her. Annabeth, Raina, Rachel, Talia, Nico, and Poseidon the most. Annabeth really want her mother to stop making fun of her boyfriend. This is, last time. Talia looked at Grover and gave him a deep stare, causing him to twitch nervously. You're not blaming yourself right now, are you? Talia asked slowly. Grover pale. That was the same voice she used when she sent Luke to New York in a poster box after he used Annabeth as bait for the Gorgons. Nope. Water under the bridge. Not blaming myself whatsoever. Totally over it, Grover said quickly, waving his arm defensively. Talia smiled and sat back down. What last? Past 6. You're gonna freak him out, Piper said. Grover looked down, embarrassed about that time. Percy gave him a smile that said, it's okay. Grover grinned and nodded. Grover, he could. Some promise, Grover grumbled, causing Percy to grin sheepishly. The demigods automatically knew that he was going to do something stupid, so they won't be surprised. Is this, to die? Annabeth quickly burst into tears once again. Baby Percy grabbed her face and smiled at her. Don't cry, Annabeth, the baby said, in his cute voice. Annabeth's smile rubbed the baby cheek affectionately. Then, she turned to the older Percy. Promise me that you will stay with me. That you will not die, Annabeth said, with a hint of desperation. Percy nodded and swore it on the sticks. He look, my coffin. Like everyone is doing now. Percy, in an unsubtle way to ease the tension said, all right, who want to read next? Annabeth raised her hand, wanting to know what happened. She gave the baby to Rachel, who is making cooing noises to him and began to read. Chapter end.